This is a Canon 50mm FD mount lens, f1.4. It is actually the very first vintage lens that I bought for the Monument camera in Tucson. Much like the 24mm I just reviewed. A lot of features basically say nice long throw, get pretty close with the focus of 1.5 feet or 0.45 meters. It's quite versatile because 50mm is one of the better focal lengths out there. You can do landscape, you can do urban, you can do portraits. As you'll be seeing from both walking around Awhile National Park and in New Mexico near Silver City. It's got good focus, pretty good sharpness, great color renditioning, and I need to change the battery in this camera.
This is a great all-purpose lens to take along on hikes and can cover most needs for landscape photography. While wandering around Awhile National Park, I captured more than a few cactus being goofy, as well as some of the flower blooms of the barrel cactus. I rather like the ability to get a solid focus of my subject, although I do have to be careful getting anything with a shallow depth of field just right. It is suitable for close-ups as well as larger landscapes. The background blur is quite nice. It really does put the nifty in 50.
It's the day of the fiery barrel cactus. Okay, that one's ridiculous. Well, the sun's finally coming out, breaking out of the overcast. Might make for some better light. Which is what I'm going to say to cover up for the fact that maybe I'm just not that competent at photography. You'll never know, will you? Well, we have a dramatic tree coming up, which of course, perfect thing to photograph. You find my angle for it and get those dramatic clouds in the background.
It also did a great job of capturing these petroglyphs of New Mexico, giving the ancient art nice contrast.
Certainly a lot of spooky trees here. Jabby jabby. Anyways, back to this lens. As I was walking along, it just occurred to me this was not technically the first vintage lens I bought. I went to Monument Camera. He recommended a 50mm lens, very similar to this one. And I took it out and went out to the desert. And when I got home after taking some photos, I noticed there was discoloration that was right in the middle of a lot of the photos. So perhaps something in the coating was messed up from, age and time and usage. Because this lens is probably a good 50 years old or more. It very well could be older than me. Anyhow, went back to Monument Camera and showed him. And he was nice enough to swap me out for a different 50mm lens. Very similar model. Can't remember if that was like f1.8 or whatever, but either way, I love the customer service. The customer service at Monument Camera. It's a great introduction to get vintage lenses, to have the ability to take it back and exchange it if necessary. So if you're in Tucson, and I'm not sponsored, and you're into cameras, go to Monument Camera. They'll take care of you.
Overall, I have always been pleased whenever I've taken this lens with me on an outdoor adventure.
Now, I did mention the 50mm is good for landscape photography, but for scenes like this canyon, might not always be the best to be able to get in one shot. This is where stitching together a photo is a good idea. Just for the record, an f2.8 right here.
I visited the small Arizona town of Duncan to test it out in a quote-unquote urban setting. Typically, I do prefer lenses with a wide focal length when wandering around a city or town, but the 50mm is still versatile enough to capture buildings as well as other details of the town. As with the landscape shots from earlier, I was pleased with the results this lens provided. I dug up some old portraits taken with this lens from a few years ago. It is an outstanding portrait lens, getting that right balance of good focus with vintage lens softness. It's highly recommended for those who are into taking nice portraits. Classic Canon quality and build. Easy to get the subject properly in focus. Lightweight and perfect for walking around. Nice background blur. Cons? They're not a no. This is a good lens. Once again, for those first starting out collecting old lenses, this is a great place to start. A glance at eBay suggests this one can be had for under $100 US, but these prices may fluctuate depending on when you see this video. I grade this lens a solid A. In a way, these Canon FD lenses seem to go a bit under the radar because it's almost taken for granted that they're good quality. So, don't hesitate and check one out for yourself.